Hello and welcome to a new and very special video, because today we are taking a bus, or respectively a coach, from Dresden in Germany to Copenhagen in Denmark. Here on the map you can see our approximate route today, and we are starting late in the evening at 10 p.m. in Dresden, waiting for our bus. That arrived exactly on time, and this is a Flixbus. So after a very long time I'm taking a Flixbus again, just because there was no other option to get from Dresden to Copenhagen on time, as I had to be there on the next late morning. So there are no direct flights between Dresden and Copenhagen, and the night train unfortunately was fully booked, so this Flixbus was the only available option, but it was very cheap. I paid around 30 euros, and included in this price was even a free seat next to me in the first row of the bus. So I got the best place with some extra space, and that for just around 30 euros. So there's no reason to complain about anything, but it was a bus ride of about 12 hours, which is quite long. The first stop after Dresden was Berlin. In Berlin we stopped at multiple stops. First stop was the airport, BER airport, and from there on we continued on to Alexanderplatz, ZOB, the central bus station, and to Tegel, and then we continued to Rostock. Now we are leaving the airport again and heading to the city center of Berlin. Due to the multiple stops in Berlin, we got a free city tour, because we were almost driving past all of the main sites of Berlin. First we got to the Alexanderplatz, Alexander Square, where is the famous TV tower of Berlin. Here we can see it in the background. Also this famous Park-Inn hotel. And here we are slowly approaching our stop here at the Alexanderplatz. This is the bus stop of a Flixbus here at Berlin Alexanderplatz. And then we continued on to the ZOB, which means ZOB, Central Omnibus Station, would be the word-by-word translation. To get there we drove past the Reichstag, Brandenburger Tor, and also Siegessäule, so many of the most famous sites of Berlin. Here in the background we can see the so-called Funkturm. And here we have the central bus station. From there we continued to Tegel, which was the last stop in Berlin, and then we drove for quite a while to Rostock. If you're taking a Flixbus, you should know that there are no stops in between. We didn't stop at any fuel station to make a small break. We were driving all the night without a stop except for the station spot. There are also just very few announcements, which is because Flixbus is not a bus company. They're just selling it, but they are using contractors who are actually the bus companies. So it can happen that the bus is coming from a different country. In our case it was a bus from Munich, but it was coming from the Czech Republic, and the bus drivers were from Poland. So they did not speak German, and also just a basic bit of English. So all announcements they made were just the names of the upcoming station. And at the ferry, which we will be taking now, they announced that we have to leave the bus. As you know, on ferries it is not allowed to stay in the car, so also we had to leave in the ferry. We're taking the ferry from Rostock to Gedser, which is a ferry of Scandlines, taking about 2 hours. And that was a nice thing about this bus ride, because out of the 12 hours on the bus, at least I got a 2-hour break on the ferry. It was very early in the morning when we boarded the ferry. Then we had to leave the bus, and we could enjoy these 2 hours on the public areas of the ferry. This is a quite modern and nice ferry with several dining options, waiting areas, shops, and also some outdoor areas. So whatever you want to do after about 8 hours on the bus, you can do it here on the ferry. You can go for a walk, you can have a nice breakfast, which is what I did, or you can just simply wait at one of the comfortable lounges on board. But I know that Scandlines does have a very nice breakfast, so I decided to go for breakfast. and got a seat in the first row with a very nice view. Here we're sailing past the Marina from Oceania Cruises, a small luxurious cruise ship. Unfortunately quite expensive, so I'm not sure at what point I will be financially able to show it to you here on the channel, but of course, as I will try to show you as much cruise ships as possible and ferries and trains. As you know, I will also try to show you the marina, of course. Here we are on the way to Denmark. Below is our bus. I was just sitting right above the bus in the first row, as I said. Weather was calm but foggy, so there was not too much to see. Also, sun was just slowly rising, so in general there was not too much to see. And now we are almost in Gedser in Denmark. Here we can see the port already. So it was slowly time to head back to our bus. Nice thing was we were in the first row with the bus and I had my seat in the first row. So I almost had like a captain's view from my seat in the bus. Could watch the ship docking in Gedser, which was quite interesting to see from this new perspective. And yeah, here you can see we're already reaching the docking location, preparing for docking, and as soon as everything was ready for us, we were allowed to leave the ferry with the bus, and then it's just a short last bit of about 1 to 2 hours to Copenhagen, which was the final stop of this bus. Here you can see the road is now lower to the level of the ferry, and that means that we can now leave the ferry, but we didn't get too far because, as always, Flixbuses will always get a separate passport control or even luggage control by local authorities, because many criminals are using these buses for drugs or other illegal items to bring to another country, because they think that there will be no control, there will be no checks, but actually at a border you will always have a check if you're traveling with a long distance coach. Also, we had to show our passports, but this time they didn't check the luggage, so they were just checking for the passports, and that took about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we were allowed to continue to Copenhagen, where we astonishingly, for a bus ride of more than 12 hours, actually it was more than 14 hours as the bus was coming from Prague in the Czech Republic, the bus was arriving exactly on time. That was very impressive, and I have to say it was not as bad as I thought. Of course, I thought 12 hours on a bus will be horrible, especially because I cannot sleep in trains or on buses. I generally cannot sleep while seated, so I knew that this was gonna be probably a tough time, but actually it was not too bad. It was quite a nice ride. We had nice drivers who were driving carefully. The seats are okay. Of course, for 12 hours it's quite a long time to sit on these seats, but still they were quite okay. Yeah, we arrived on time. I was here on time for my upcoming adventure, which you will see in the next videos. So that was quite nice. I was quite surprised. As I said, I paid around 30 euros, so that was very good value for money. That's it for this video. Hope it was interesting. Here you can see the name of the song and when the next video will be uploaded. As always, I'd like to say thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider to comment, like, subscribe, or share the video link. And I hope to see you in my next video.